Good morning, everyone. My name is Angela Elzinga Chang. I work at West Neighborhood House, with the Greenest City program, and I was asked to do a little bit of a video to talk about my experiences as part of a employment social enterprise accelerator program, particularly about market research. I'm super excited to do this. So I'm going to start now. So a little bit about my background. I was given some questions. I have a master's of social work, and I actually also grew up working in agriculture. And so I probably for about 25 years, I've been working in urban agriculture. And so I decided to join my community development and my urban agriculture work in my ESE. I've been doing food sovereignty for a long time, a very, very long time. So what is vegging out? Well, let me show you a little bit about what vegging out is. I'm going to share my screen and just show you my, I won't do the whole presentation, but what I would like to do is just be able to tell you a little bit about what vegging out is. So Vegging Out is a fresh organic greens product business. It's going to sell high quality, locally grown greens and herbs. It's going to be grown at Greenest City, particularly at the Milky Way Hub. It's a hydroponic year-round container. If you don't know what that is, I'll tell you in a moment. These products are going to be delivered to restaurants and small grocers by bike and sold to individuals at farmers markets by youth. And it will be linked to decent wage jobs in climate conscious landscaping with job ready skills in sustainable growing of food, native plants, pollinators, and medicines, which we identified as a rising trend in landscaping companies. Hydroponics, well, what you can see here, this container here, it's a year-round growing container. Inside, it's very sophisticated. Actually, to buy one, it's about $230,000, somewhere around there. And you grow it in nutrient-rich water. So we know lots of things grow in water. And we know that lettuces, kales, lots of locally grown greens will grow extremely well in water. And the benefit of this is that's produce food grown any time of the year, and it has very high yields. So a good business proposition. Our key population is working with youth. So these are youth who experience barriers. It could be mental health. It could be low literacy. So youth who experience barriers but are excited about working in climate conscious landscaping. What you can see here is here's the location where we're going to have our container farm. We also have outdoor growing. We'll also have a hoop house at some point. There's rainwater harvesting systems. This is actually located in Parkdale. It's a 7,000 square foot piece of land. Gorgeous, beautiful. Currently, what we have is the pergola and all of the outdoor growing, and we have to move yet forward in getting the container farm. I'm done the feasibility study and I'm done the business plan, and we're hoping to start writing some, we have permission to have the hydroponic farm on the site. It took us about 2.5 years to do that. And we're writing grants to add infrastructure like electricity. We already have water. So we're pretty far along, but we need the biggest piece yet, which is to buy the hydroponic farm and then develop all the curriculum yet for the young people. But we've had some really great interviews. So today is particularly to talk about market research. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the market research that we did. So that was what I was asked to do. Can you tell us about how we approached market research? So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. One of my background is that I have an evaluation background. So because of my master's of social work, I had to do research as part of it. And I have some experience with doing different research interviews, surveys, those kinds of things. So it helped with my market research. But what really helped is my amazing coach, Hannah Reed, who really helped me also. And so I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what we did so that you can see our approach. So we had to, there's metrics that the United Way says that we have to follow. And so we did a customer survey And I'm just going to show you. We did a customer survey through SurveyMonkey. We got over 231 responses, and I used my networks, and I used her networks, and we used our friends' networks of Greenest City. So that got us our 231 responses. Oh, wait, you can't actually see that, I don't think, because I didn't share that with you. I'm just talking. So why don't I show you the screen really quickly so that you can see my survey, what I did, because I was just circling some things very excitedly. So what I have here is you can see the SurveyMonkey here. We got 231 responses here. We got a paid plan to do SurveyMonkey. That was to do our customer survey. We also were trying out creating our own interview surveys so that while I was interviewing, I could use SurveyMonkey. It's okay. We also used like Google or Word, and we use SurveyMonkey. So you'll see both. So for example, we have here a vegging out business B2B. There's 15 here. We actually interviewed more than 15 people. Some of it we did on Google Drive or Word, and some of it we did using SurveyMonkey. It's really your preference. So that was the survey, but I want to tell you also about the interview guide that we created. So that was actually Hannah supported me, asked all the kind of questions that we wanted, created an interview guide and a script. So this is the feasibility study development, the interview guide. And this is just, we interviewed Food Share as one of our organizations for an employment social enterprise. And I worked on the questions with Hannah. And then, as you can see, we typed out all of our answers on the interview guide. We did the same thing with our B2B interview questions, same process, and Hannah really was supportive. The coach was really supportive in that process. And I would say, I'll offer advice later, but one of the key things is absolutely to hire a coach. So helpful because it's a lot of interviews, it's a lot of work, and to keep on track, I really needed Hannah to support me and meeting with me regularly and making sure I got these interviews done, identified who it was. So people were comfortable talking to me I did it all on Zoom because this is all during COVID, although I would have loved to have visited some of the places just to learn some more. Although really at that time, it just seemed to save their time and my time. And people were very willing and excited to talk to me. It was, some of the little bit more difficult not difficult people, but doing cold calls was challenging. And I actually hired someone to support me with this. So they actually went and visited all kinds of different stores in the neighborhood in Parkdale, because our goal is to sell within a 5-kilometer radius. We identified stores to go visit, places that sell produce. And I actually had the person go and meet them, ask them if they would be willing to do interviews. It was a little bit hard. We didn't get everyone. Sometimes we only got maybe the first 3 questions answered. And then I would work with her about getting more answers or going back or finding someone else that can give us even more. So that we did regular meetings with the person who I hired and problem solved as we went along. So there was a question were people comfortable in answering the interview questions, and I had a lot of willingness of people willing to answer the question and help me out, which was great. It says, question was, you recently completed your feasibility study with fully developed market research. Can you tell us how your initial work influences recent work? So I would say when I completed the program, the Accelerator program, I had an outline. I'd done some initial research. I had some thoughts. I identified gaps. United Way identified gaps. Questions we had that weren't answered, it's all initial and basic. And so that really helped me then identify the kind of big interview guide that I wanted to be able to develop. So a lot more questions based off of, based off of the outline of the feasibility study. I was then able to interview people, B2B, ESE, all of that. Other employment social enterprise, other businesses, talk to some customers. It was, and I developed my questions actually based out of the initial research that we had to do for the Accelerator program. And it was, where are my gaps in knowledge? What don't I know? Which was a lot, even though I've worked in this field for a long time. I am not a business person. So, I come from a not-for-profit. So there's some expertise I have, but I am not a business person. So it was really important that I talk to people who had business knowledge. I don't know how to run an employment social enterprise, although I've done work with youth. So it was just new knowledge that I was gathering. I have some experience, but it was really important to talk to people with expertise. The last question is, what is one piece of advice that I have to offer? Hire a coach, hire a coach, hire a coach. Excellent in keeping me on track, giving me advice, just helping me, work through the different questions, get it to a place where I, got everything on the feasibility study, like all the way on to all, answering all the questions. It just really helped keep me on track and moving forward. And because it got a bit like sloggy, just a little bit. This is hard. This is difficult. I have to work on this like 4 to 6 hours a week, which was very well worth it. By the time I finished this, I feel very proud of the work that I did with all the support of the coach and all of the work of the different people that supported me in the interviews. I really would say, having done this intense amount of work very much validates the research that we did, and allows for other people to feel like we've done a strong study. And with a strong study, I feel like we'll be able to get, we've got West Neighborhood House to say yes to moving forward with the project. I feel like we're going to be able to use the feasibility study and the business plan in our grants. And without these things, feasibility and business plan, I don't think we would get the funding. So that's probably everything with the market research. I actually really enjoyed talking to people, and that comes through when you're really super, happy to talk about your product. That really comes through. I would say the advice of the Accelerator program is that you should do the research, and I would definitely say you should do a portion of the research for sure, and not hire someone else to do everything for you. Definitely you should do it, because in the end you'll be incredibly connected to the product. So unfortunately you don't get a chance to ask me any questions, but thank you so much for listening. And I hope that you learned something, and that you're on this journey, and that you'll keep going on this journey. Feel free to reach out to me, AngelaEL at westneighborhoodhouse.org, if you have any questions or want some thoughts or advice. I'll give it based off of my experience. Thanks for listening, everyone.